Hey everybody, it's GomletX and welcome back to some more Magic Arena. Today I'll be playing another premiere draft of Streets of New Capenna, and without further ado, let's just get into it. So this pack seems really bad. I don't like any of these uncommons enough to pack one, pick one them. Take to the Streets like can be a finisher in the Citizens deck, but it's pretty narrow, not phenomenal. Riveteer's Charm, pretty narrow because of the 3-color cost requirement for it. Stimulus Package is also not that great by itself. It's 4 mana for 2/1/1, so you really need a lot of treasure production to get a lot of work done with it. And when we look at our commons, none of these are really top level commons at all. Honestly, the best one might just be Spar's Adjudicators, which while it is a gold card, it is a 3-colored card. It does mana fix for itself, so it's more like a 2-color card, and by being mana fixing, it just feels a little more flexible than taking some other 3-color card. Super weak first pack. We could even just take the land here, honestly, and I think I might. Just scoop up a Broker's Hideout here. This way, if we end up in white-green or white-blue or green-white-blue, we'll have a mana-fixing land for us. So if we end up in Obscura, in Cabaretti, or Brokers, we have a little bit of mana-fixing. Not an ideal pack one there. Here we do have some better cards. Looks like nothing great. But some decent stuff. I think the best card here is probably just Mayhem Patrol in red. 2 mana for a 1/2 menace. Whenever it attacks, it gets +1/+0 till end of turn. So nice aggressive card if the aggressive like red-black deck is open. Generally, you do like to end up in green, white, or blue. Those tend to be the colors with just the deepest card base, the most good cards in those colors at common and uncommon. However, they are also the heavily drafted colors, the most cut-off colors in draft, so can't always end up in them. So I'm going to take Mayhem Patrol here, see if this is a draft pod where red-black's going to be more open. Nothing phenomenal to follow up Mayhem Patrol if we want to go down that direction. Tramway Station would be solid. Light 'em Up would be okay. Don't love Light 'em Up, though. Best cards in the pack seem like Luxurious Libation, being a powerful combat trick that spits out a creature as well. Make Disappear has been a counterspell that just has worked very well in this format. And Rooftop Nuisance is just a huge tempo play, a huge swing early or late game. So I think the blue cards here are actually the cards I'm most excited about. We're only really 2 picks in. Both of our picks are for different decks, so we're not tied to anything so far. So I'll just take one of the strongest cards in the pack, one of the blue cards here. I'm going to go for a Rooftop Nuisance. Pick 4 now. We have another great blue tempo card, the Out of the Way. 4 mana to bounce an online permanent and draw a card. If you're targeting a green permanent, it only costs 2 mana, and this is a pretty multicolored format, so it can cost 2 mana a decent amount of the time. There's also Strangle here if we want to keep jumping in on red, but it's also the only red card in the pack. Nothing last pack in red was particularly insane, so don't know how open red is yet. Red's a color you really only want to jump into it unless if it's really open, but if it's really open, then it is a powerful color. It is, I think, the weakest color in this set, though. It has to be open for it to be good. I'm going to go for the Out of the Way here. There's also a Broker's Hideout we could have considered there. So here we have one decent red card again, Plasma Jockey, but we still see great blue cards like these huge tempo plays, another Rooftop Nuisance, double Rooftop Nuisance, and Out of the Way could be a way to start this draft. We could also take our first white card here, scoop up a Gathering Throng, see if we can get a ton of copies of that. This card is okay if you have 2 copies, and it's great if you have more than that. Other than that, we have Kill Shot, which is fine. It doesn't kill everything you want it to, because often you're going to be on the aggressive in the white decks, and this can't kill a blocker, obviously. But it's still good as a backup plan if your opponent plays a big bomb that's going to kill you. Then Shieldmate is fine. Yeah, Rooftop Nuisance, Gathering Throng here. I already have a Rooftop Nuisance and Out of the Way, which are pretty similar in what they do. So I don't really want to start my deck with 3 cards that do the same thing here. So now we have Gathering Throng, Rooftop Nuisance, Out of the Way, and Mayhem Patrol. So we're a little all over the place here. Broker's Hideout as well. Girdergoons is my favorite card in this pack. How awkward of a pick is that? I think that actually looks pretty solid to me. Because with the way that the colors are in this format, since they're allied colors, that's a card that's going to help just glue together our picks a little bit and let us go blue-black or red-black here. Maybe blue-black-white if we really want to do Gathering Throng. Yeah, I like Girdergoons here. Strangle's a solid card in red for sure. We're seeing Strangles everywhere, so that is a good sign for red. But we also see Aspara's Adjudicators here, pick 7, which is good for brokers. Prize Fight's like okay in green. Girdergoons, Mayhem Patrol, and Strangle's a pretty solid way to start off a red-black deck. And we could move towards Maestros here, because I haven't been absolutely in love with the white or green that we've been seeing. And Strangle can absolutely get played in a Maestros deck. A red, blue, and black deck. Yeah, I'll scoop up a Strangle now. And we do see a Corrupt Court Official, which is a premier card for the Maestros decks, because this is a great card to sacrifice to your casualty effects like Rooftop Nuisance. Love me a Corrupt Court Official. I think I'll scoop that up here. I'm taking it over a Maestros Theater, which might be a little bit bold. Probably supposed to take mana fixing a little higher than that, but I do really like Corrupt Court Official. It's one of the top black commons in my opinion. So if it weren't in the pack, I'd absolutely scoop up Maestros Theater. If it was going to be more of a filler card getting picked up, I would take the mana fixing over that, but I'm not going to take the mana fixing over one of my favorite commons in the color. Nothing much in this pack. This is the pack that we opened that was already just pretty bad immediately. I guess Riveteer's Charm being in here is a little bit of a sign for black, red, green, which is kind of a good sign for us because we are looking to be in black, red at the minimum. Probably black, red, blue. Yeah, not in love with Reveloon or a Crocodile. They're fine. I'll just scoop up this Riveteer's Charm, just speculate on that. Not super likely to play with it a ton, but here we can take a Rob the Archives, which is an interesting draw spell. It's a draw spell, but you have to play the cards that you draw this turn. It can casualty and hit 4 cards as well, which is crazy. Could be okay here. We do wheel the Tramway Station, very happy to see that for our mana. Make Disappear nice and late as well for a Maestro's kind of control deck here. Rooftop Nuisance, pick 13. I'm all for that. Definitely happy to be in the colors that we're in. I think blue, black, red looks great here, and we open up Obnixilis, the Adversary. This is an insane Rakdos Planeswalker, a 3-mana, 3-loyalty Planeswalker with Casualty X, and then the copy that you make off of Casualty comes in with X loyalty. And then a +1, making your opponent lose 2 life, or discard a card, and then a -2 of making 1/1 Devil, and a -7 making somebody draw 7 and lose 7 life. So the way Obnixilis really works in this format is if you get a couple creatures on the board to be able to chump block with to protect the Obnixilis, and then you casualty it as well to where you have 2 Planeswalkers sitting behind 1 or 2 little dorks, it's going to be really hard for your opponent to win because doubling up on that +1 ability puts so much pressure on your opponent, and spitting out the Devils when you need more blockers to protect the Obnixilis card is insane, and we're definitely going to scoop it up here. We would be really happy to wheel Corpse Appraiser, but I don't think that's particularly likely since Corpse Appraiser is one of the strongest uncommons in Maestros. Wow, unfortunate to see this pack here, because I don't think there's any way we can go white, but Sanctuary Warden is one of the strongest bombs in the format, a 6-mana 5/5 flyer that comes with 2 shield counters, so it's really hard to kill, and when it enters battlefield or attacks, you can remove a counter from any creature or planeswalker you control to get a 1/1 and draw a card. Obnoxiously powerful card. Again, I don't really think I can do that here. I could, if I really want to, try to do some kind of 4-color brew to get that in here, but I think that's just going to make our streamlined, like, casualty sort of deck a lot more, or a lot less streamlined, a lot less consistent. So I'm just going to go with the Corpse Appraiser here, the powerful draw spell slapped onto a creature, and whoever gets that Sanctuary Warden is going to be very happy getting that pick 3 at the earliest. Let's see what we have here now in our pick 3. Nothing much. We do see Rafine's Informant, which is excellent in white. Pretty big bummer seeing this powerful white stuff here at this point. Yeah, Sanctuary Warden into Rafine's Informant would have been a pretty good push into white. Maybe go Obscura instead, but then we have to drop Obnixilis. Obnixilis is really powerful too. Yeah, I think all we really could have done here is maybe go for like some kind of 4-color very awkward mana deck. I'm just going to pick up a Snooping Newsy here. It's a card I've enjoyed. Just a 2-mana 2/2 that mills you 2. It doesn't look that special, but it is good with graveyard synergies if you have cards that care about having 5 mana values in your grave, like Syndicate Infiltrator, and it's very good if you can get the lifelink off of it. This pack really doesn't have much for us. We have a Riveteer's Overlook as a red-black mana fixer. That would be a fine pickup. Another Out of the Way would be a fine pickup. Probably hoping to be like red-black splash the blue, but it really looks like we're red-blue splash the black right now, which is pretty weird. How hard is it to trigger Syndicate Infiltrator? We have one self-mill card. Decent amount of like instants and sorceries at different manas. We could take this Infiltrator, but I'm actually going to take the land here. Get some more mana fixing to really make sure that this 3-color deck shines. Another bit of a difficult choice here. Expendable Lackey is going to work really well with our casualty spells. And it would work well with Connive as well. Although we don't have any Connive, just have casualty here. But Sleep with the Fishes is a great removal spell. You get to keep something locked down, you tap it down and it doesn't untap, and create a fish in the process. Definitely good enough removal spell. I'll scoop that up here. And it looks like we are going the full Maestros rather than anything particularly splashy here. Glamorous Outlaw is going to be a great way to fix our mana and provide us with a powerful 6-drop later in the game. This is another pretty close choice between this and Echo Inspector. I think that card is quite good as well. A 4-mana 2/3 flyer that connives when it hits the board. So if you're discarding a non-land card, could be a 4-mana 3/4 flyer, which is very big in this format. It's just out of reach of a lot of removal like Strangle and Deal Gone Bad. So Echo Inspector is quite good, but this is a deck, because I'm kind of going for a full-on 3-color pile, I'm going to take Mana Fixing Dorks pretty highly. We see another Rooftop Nuisance. These are just everywhere. Nobody cares about Rooftop Nuisance in this draft pod, and as such, I guess I'll just scoop it up. Skybridge Towers here. I kind of wish I took that Sanctuary Warden, because it seems like the mana fixing is definitely going late enough in this draft pod. We could have played a 4-color deck with just a ton of comes to play tapped lands and a ton of mana fixing in the deck. Ominous Parcel as well. Yeah, I wish I took that Sanctuary Warden here. I think this would have been the draft to go bold. I haven't tried to draft the 4-color deck yet, but I think this would have been the draft to do it. Splash in the double white Sanctuary Warden. Nothing massively exciting in here. I'll just take a quick Draw Dagger, which has been a fine combat trick. Run out of town or Deal Gone Bad. Deal Gone Bad again. There's a lot of good 4 toughness cards. This is just not great against. But I have so many tempo plays that I don't think Run Out of Town's super good. I'm going to take Deal Gone Bad, I guess. Take an Obscure Initiate here or a Little Chat. Both seem fine to me. I actually like a Little Chat a little bit in this deck, because it helps dig for specific cards, so it helps draw towards bombier plays like Ob Nixilis. We see a Pick 12 Syndicate Infiltrator. Super happy I didn't scoop that up. That was the one thing I was kind of speculating on there. I didn't mention it at the time. I was on a rant about something else, but we did wheel Syndicate Infiltrator, and that was my fingers crossed plan. It wasn't my plan that I thought would work, but a plan that might. And luckily for us, nobody in blue-black, so we can definitely wheel this Syndicate Infiltrator as well, meaning that we get to scoop up an Undercover Operative out of this pack. Solid rare. It's not as good as it looks. I have never had this card be insane, but it's always solid. 4 mana to copy the best creature on the battlefield. If that creature is a creature on your board, then you get a shield counter on it as well. So Operative is just solid. It's not insane or anything. We already have 3 Rooftop Nuisances, so I'm not taking another one over that. Other than that, in this pack, there's just another Make Disappear. Pretty easy Operative here. Not because Operative is super powerful, but because the rest of the pack is kind of weak, or will just definitely mill like the Infiltrator. Or wheel like the Infiltrator, not mill. Body Dropper here, or Strangle, or Obscure a Storefront. So if we want to be more controlling, we take Strangle. If we want to be more proactive and aggressive, we take Body Dropper. And if we just want to fix our mana more, we take Storefront. So I don't think we have enough creatures to be the really aggressive sacrifice deck that Body Dropper works well in. That would have been really cool. We could just be Rakdos here, but we are definitely 3 colors with this deck. We definitely have a lot of tempo plays and removal-y plays. I think we're more of a control sort of deck here that just wants more cheap removal. I think I take Strangle here. Another body dropper. This is the pack that... This is my problem. Whenever I try to go like for the Rakdos aggro deck, it always feels like I see all the body droppers in pack 3. And they're the kind of cards that are really good to jump on in pack 1 and be like, well, now I know every Blitz card that I take is going to be so much better, like Girder Goons and stuff. It's just a really sad day here. So Girder Goons or Dusk Mangler. I think I'm actually going to take Dusk Mangler over that. I haven't played with this card yet, but I've played against it before, and it's a very powerful late-game spell. Makes your opponent discard a card, sack a creature, and lose 4 life. So it's kind of a 3-for-1. Because you get a creature and you deal with 2 of their things. I guess there's another Undercover Operative, but honestly, I'm going to take Dusk Mangler over it. I don't think Undercover Operative, again, as I said before, it's not that insane. It's just fine. I think I want to fill out a slot that's much more empty on my curve, which is just like a big boss monster game-ending card, which Undercover Operative isn't. It's just going to be another solid creature. This will be an easy Corrupt Court Official for me. Love that card. Not too much else going on in this pack. Yeah, scoop that Corrupt Court Official here. Maestro's Charm. Great instant speed removal spell. That's a draw spell as well if we need that. Could take another creature like Echo Inspector, but again, I think we're going for a removal-heavy kind of controlling deck here. Getaway card's really good with Corrupt Court Officials. It can bounce them back to your hand every time you attack with it, which is a neat combo. It's a fun little synergy there, but I think Maestro's Charm is just going to be the better card. Now, I guess there's like a Dig Up the Body, Pyre Sledge Arsonist, but Treasure is what makes this card really good. With just like Blitz and Casualty, it's not going to do much. Yeah, I'm probably not playing Dig Up the Body though, so I guess I'll just take an Arsonist, but it's likely to get cut. Wrecking Crew for a big 5-mana 4/5 reach trample. It's a big way to stabilize. It does feel like we want our early game to be all of our cheap removal, and then we just want to drop down like big scary monsters later. That being said, Tainted Indulgence does seem like it would work fine in this deck. Nice little draw spell, but I'm going to go for the Wrecking Crew here. Get some big dorks later. Definitely going to go for the Waterfront District here. Our mana fixing's pretty low. Just 2 of the lands. Let's grab a 3rd. And now we get to wheel that Syndicate Infiltrator. Again, we already have triple Rooftop Nuisance, not going to take a 4th. Could take a 2nd Make Disappear, but I like the Syndicate Infiltrators in here. They seem like they're going to be pretty big late game ways to close out the game in this more controlling strategy. 5/5 flyers, potentially, when we hit the late game. Sewer Crocodile's another fine way to close out the game. Although Exhibition Magician gives us 1/1 Citizen, which is going to help for all of our casualty plays, which we have a lot of. Plus it works with Ob Nixilis, plus it gives us mana fixing for stuck on colors. Actually, I'm going to take Exhibition Magician over the Sewer Crocodile there. Could take a Midnight Assassin, which is fine in more controlling builds, so I guess we'd put it in here. I do not like Maestro's Initiate. The 1 toughness is an absolute killer in this format against 1/1 citizens, 1/1 fishes, -1/-1 effects. So yeah, I'll just take Midnight Assassin. I don't know if we're playing it, but it feels like it would be okay in the deck. Gilded Pinions is a solid card as well, if you're a deck with like no flying and just a bunch of big green creatures, but that's not what our deck is here. We're not a Gilded Pinions deck. Okay, so 48 cards. We get to cut quite a few out of this deck. Again, I think this was the draft pod. We could have definitely went for like 4-color control. Tried to use a Sanctuary Warden to help close things out. I think I'm cutting Quick Draw Dagger because I don't think I'm trying to get into combat all that often. And cutting the Rob the Archives because we have other better card draw. We have incidental card draw on 3 Rooftop Nuisances and Out of the Way. And we've got a Little Chat, which is kind of just a better Rob the Archives. Now, I'm thinking about cutting this Pyre Sledge Arsonist. I just don't think we have a consistent enough way to be sacrificing stuff that's going to be all that good. Like, we have some Blitz, we have some Casualty, but they don't overlap a lot, stack into all that much damage with that card. 5 more cuts. Got 16 creatures here. We've got a lot of creatures. We probably just have more than we need for the controlling strategy. Mayhem Patrol doesn't make a lot of sense here because it's a much better attacker than it is blocker. And I think we're really looking for blockers in the early game. Chump blockers like Corrupt Court Officials and maybe lifelinking blockers with the Newsies if we're lucky. Yeah, I think every other creature in this deck makes a lot of sense for this sort of build. Mayhem Patrol just makes less. I'm going to cut that. And I don't love Rooftop Nuisance in this build either. It's generally a really good card, but what it's good at is your very average, like, mid-range limited deck, where, you know, both players are curving out with their creatures, and then if you Rooftop Nuisance your opponent, it's a huge swing, because it's gonna stop all the damage they're dealing to you, and make sure they have no blockers to stop your damage to them. Don't think we care all that much about trying to lock down our opponent's blockers early game to get extra damage in. I guess if we get the Nuts draw and our Snooping Newsies are 3/3s, then that could be good. But it's mainly just a defensive play, and I don't think it's super powerful as a defensive play. I definitely prefer Out of the Way as a defensive tempo spell, since that one forces your opponent to recast the creature. So it's going to cost them a lot of mana. So I'm going to cut 1 Rooftop Nuisance at least, but I'm considering going down to 1 copy of it. I definitely love the counterspell, love the cheap Strangle removal. Actually, Deal Gone Bad probably isn't great in here. It's like a 4 mana instant speed version of Strangle. So for 3 more mana, we get to do it at instant speed. We do get to mill ourselves, which is going to help our Syndicate Infiltrators get better. But Syndicate Infiltrators look like they should pop off in the late game, and we don't need them to pop off until the late game anyway. So I'm going to cut the Deal Gone Bad here, because in our deck we have 2 Snooping Newsies to mill ourselves. We have 2 Strangles, which anytime we draw this, we're going to have a 1-drop in grave. We're always going to cast that. But it should be really easy for us to have a 2 mana, a 3 mana, and a 0 mana in grave. And then a decent amount of the time we should have either a 1-drop or a 4-drop in grave plus like a 5-drop Girder Goons or something. So I don't think Infiltrator's going to be that hard to trigger in this deck to make it a 5/5 flyer that we need to run Deal Gone Bad for self-mill. Yeah, Midnight Assassin, even though it kind of makes sense in here to block like a big creature from our opponent, I still don't love the stat line. I miss Vampire Nighthawk. I probably just don't give Midnight Assassin enough credit because of how much I miss Vampire Nighthawk. That was a 3 mana 2/3 Flying Death Touch lifelink. That one was an uncommon, but it was a good one. So 1 more cut after a Midnight Assassin gets cut here. Maybe we do cut the Wrecking Crew. Because it still feels like we have a lot of big game-ending creatures here. You know, double Infiltrator as 3/3 to 5/5 flyers. 4/4 Girder Goons, 5/4 Duskmangler, 4/5 Outlaw that also scries and damages. Yeah, Wrecking Crew seems like our weakest kind of boss monster, kind of endgame creature here. We've got a solid stack of endgame creatures already. Cut those 2. Call it a deck here. Take another look at the sideboard for more mana fixing, but I don't believe there is any. Broker's Hideout is white, blue, and green. That doesn't help us. Yeah, I think I like this Maestro's control deck. We'll call it there. Take a look at our mana now. Definitely descending the scale of how necessary it is here. So we need mostly blue, a bit of black, and a bit of red. 6, 7, only 7 blue sources here. I'm not sure I like that. We have 2 double blue cards, Sleep with the Fishes and Undercover Operative. We have several 1 and 2 mana blue cards, Double Snooping Newsy, Expendable Lackey, a Little Chat, Make Disappear. Yeah, I definitely want more blue sources than this. I want like 8 minimum. Let's see how our black sources are looking. 8 cards in black and 3 of every color, so it's 11. We currently have 4, 5, 6, 7 black sources. We have as many black sources as blue sources right now, which we do need early game black mana for double Corrupt Court Official, double Snooping Newsy. Not as badly as we need the blue mana, though. See how our red looks. 4, 5, 6 red. I like having less red sources than anything else in this deck, for sure. Problem is I do want to up those blue sources a little bit, so am I going to go to 6 black and red sources, or am I going to go to still 7 black sources, but just 5 red sources? 5 red sources is 1 out of 8 cards as a red source. And this is all not accounting for the Glamorous Outlaws mana fixing. So that should even things out a little bit more. But yeah, I think our red cards are actually pretty much all actually later game plays. We actually did end up being just blue-black mainly. Like Strangles, we don't play these until they play a creature we really want to kill, which isn't until turn 2 at the earliest. So it's not like we need a red source turn 1. But even playing a Strangle later in the game is always going to be good if we're killing something with it. But yeah, killing a Jewel Thief with this on our turn 4 after their turn 3 Jewel Thief is good. So even if we stumble there, Exhibition Magician is the only red card that definitely gets considerably worse later in the game. Maybe we cut Exhibition Magician here to put in the Midnight Assassin or Deal Gone Bad or something, just to lower the amount of red cards here, so we can go down to 5 red sources without feeling like that's going to be a struggle for us, because both Strangle and Obnixilus are like very fine late game plays. We don't need to be playing those turn 1 or turn 3, so we can stumble on our red sources to get our blue and black sources to be more consistent here. I'm actually pretty down for that, because yeah, Exhibition Magician, one of the powerful things about it that I was saying about it is, yeah, it gets us that citizen for our casualty cards, but it always has the backup plan of giving us the treasure token when we're stuck on mana. We need to hit our 3rd color. But if our red is our lowest represented color, then we're not consistently going to be casting an Exhibition Magician when we're stuck on mana. We're most often going to be stuck off of the red. So yeah, I'll cut Exhibition Magician to throw another card in here. We could even go for an 18 land build here just to up the amount of sources of each color. We're a bit of a slower deck here. We don't have a ton of like really expensive cards to really benefit from that 18th land. The biggest benefit from the 18th land is upping the amount of colored sources in our deck, not necessarily lands. This way we get to have 8 blue, 7 black, 6 red. I feel like I would still cut down on a red source here even with the 18 land version. Probably go like 9, 7, 5. I might roll with an 18 lander here. I don't enjoy flooding out, but at the same time, upping our numbers on each source feels good to me. Maybe I'm supposed to do that, but I'm going to put a Deal Gone Bad in. I'm going to go for the 17 land still. So we have 7, 8 blue, 7 black, 5 red, and that is our mana. Just go for a regular 17 land deck here. Okay, so here is a final look at our deck. This is going to be a Maestro's sort of controlling deck here. We have some cheap cards, cheap removal like Strangle, 2 copies of that, cheap counterspell of Make Disappear. The cheap blockers that we have are Expendable Lackey, double Corrupt Court Official, double Snooping Newsy to make sure we're not dying in the early game. And then once we hit 3 drops, we've got Rooftop Nuisances to really slow down our opponent with the Corrupt Court Officials and Expendable Lackeys to sacrifice to draw 2 cards off of this while tapping down their board. Corpse Appraiser will be a huge value swing, a 3-mana 3/3 drawing us another card, and then once we get to those higher mana costs, that's when, after we've locked down all of their early game plays, we try to close things out with some big cards of our own, Syndicate Infiltrators as potential 5/5 flyers, but 3/3 flyers at minimum. Girder Goons, big old 4/4, Dusk Mangler, 5/4 with a huge enter the battlefield effect, and Glamorous Outlaws, a 4/5 with a solid one. And of course, at 3 mana above, we also have just more removal available. Maestro's Charm, Deal Gone Bad, Sleep with the Fishes, and Out of the Way. We've also got that Obnixilus that might show up at various times of the game to try to really turn things in our favor. So, looks like a pretty spicy deck, and I'm excited to try it out here. So without further ado, let's head into the gameplay. Well, our added blue sources have definitely assisted us here. We've got the blue mana. Problem is we don't have any other colors. Probably have to mulligan this, but if we draw a swamp, the hand is gas. Because if we draw a swamp, we have 3 lands then. We get to turn 2 Corrupt Court Official, turn 3 Rooftop Nuisance if necessary. That would draw us 1 to 2 cards, whether or not we casualty it. This hand is really good if we draw a swamp, but we can't really gamble on that. Because if we don't, it doesn't do anything. 7 black sources in the deck to draw into out of 33 cards left. More than a 1 in 3. I'm gonna mulligan it here. No blue source is worse than no black source, but Glamorous Outlaw. Make sure we can turn one of our lands into that blue source. The biggest issue with this hand is actually the lack of early plays. If our opponent is aggressive, they can really beat us up here. I think we have to keep this. I don't think this one is worth going down to the 5-card hand. But I don't think it's great. Well, there's our blue source. That certainly helps it a lot. I'll go for a Riveteer's Overlook here. Just thin a land out of our deck, so it's a little less likely we draw a swamp or mountain here. Probably should have just grabbed a swamp, even though I already have 2 sources. I grabbed the mountain because in order to cycle this tramway station later, we need another black source and red source, and this way we do. We have the black and red source to use to filter this tramway station away. But we also have to consider that we might need multiple black sources to cast multiple cards in one turn. We're much more likely to draw multiple black cards to cast than multiple red cards. But we'll just draw the second swamp anyway, and it'll be all fine. Spar's Adjudicators is getting filtered onto one of their lands here. They only have 2 mana out right now, but with Civic Gardener, their mana can be explosive once they get it. Civic Gardener gets to untap 1 land every time it attacks, so if they have multiple 2-drops or a 2-drop and a 3-drop or something, they could cast both in the same turn, thanks to Civic Gardener. Looks like that's not happening, though. No real tricks out of Civic Gardener here. Skycrier is the play. And Expendable Lackey, so just a full-on traditional Brokers deck here. Which you're going to see in most matchups, in most games. Use our Glamorous Outlaw here to just make our mana a little better. Out of the way is our draw. I think I just want to play a 3/3 on this board state. I'll just play a 3/3 on this board state. Shuts off their attacks until they can cast that Spar's Adjudicators or something else to deal with our Syndicate Infiltrator. Angelic Observer is the play. It's their own 3/3 flyer. Ooh, excellent draw. I'll just cast that right now, I think. Strangle the Angelic Observer. Alright, holding up a bunch of great instant speed plays here. Do we attack in? Don't think we do. If we attack, we hit them for 3 and then they hit us for 4 and gain a life. That is not a race we're winning. So we just pass turn, hold up all our instants. Broker's Hideout it is. Opponent gains a life and tutors for whatever basic land they need in their Broker's deck. Island it is. Illuminator Virtuoso, the double striker that connives every time it gets targeted by their own spell. Very explosive card. Pretty threatening one. Might be worth a Maestro's Charm to kill it. We hold on to Sleep the Fishes to deal with the Adjudicators. I could even just bounce it here if I really want to draw a card. Get a 4-drop into the grave. In the interest of tempo, I could even just Maestro's Charm. Draw a card here and fill my grave for Infiltrator. Feels bold though, because that is getting rid of my 5 damage removal spell to do that. I think I'd rather just draw a card blind off the out of the way, slow our opponent down a little. Okay, so we have all the mana to go for our Glamorous Outlaw here. I think that is the play. Ob Nixilis and Corrupt Court Official. Those are some very real cards. We can sleep with the fishes next turn, and Ob Nixilis sacrificing the fish to have 2 Ob Nixilises. Yep, I think we want both of these, and I think we want them in this order. Maybe we don't want Corrupt Court Official, but our opponent's stuck enough on mana here, they probably still have cards in hand by that time. Well, I guess with Ob Nixilis they won't. Yeah, we'll get rid of Corrupt Court Official. Pass turn. Ob Nixilis is our win con this game. Disciplined Duelist. That is going to sleep with the fishes. That is for sure. Okay. So we've got the mana to go sleep with the fishes on the Duelist. Ob Nixilis, sacrifice a fish.
Enough of your petty notions of morality. All that matters.
I kind of want a Devil so they can't like triple attack an Ob Nixilis. But they can already kill an Ob Nixilis if they get their 5th mana for Adjudicators. They just play it, shut off Infiltrator, and kill an Ob Nixilis. I guess they don't get to kill both Ob Nixilises if I make a Devil, so let's make a Devil here. And they can only kill 1 Ob Nixilis, even if they cast Adjudicators.
Your punishment.
And we make the Devil first so that we gain life off of Ob Nixilis' +1 as well. Alright, unfortunately the Adjudicator's mana it is. That means one of these Ob Nixilises is dead. I guess if I didn't minus, then they would just have enough loyalty to not die to a 1/1. They would have had to send the ground troops at them. So actually, I should have plussed both, I think. Because then the only way they kill an Ob Nixilis is by attacking with everybody on the ground. I wouldn't have a Devil anymore, but they'd have to attack with everybody on the ground. I get to kill somebody with a Glamorous Outlaw, and they still just kill 1 Ob Nixilis. Yeah, that would have been better. Definite misplay.
By coin.
This is my first time playing with an Ob Nixilis.
Tribute is owed.
So that is going to happen. Feeling pretty good here. This Ob Nixilis feels somewhat safe. Got the Maestro's Charm backing him up. If we don't have to cast Maestro's Charm, we just draw a card off our tramway station here. Take to the streets. Give their board a +2/+2 till end of turn. Citizens are +3/+3. Jesus Christ. +3/+3 vigilance to Adjudicators makes it a 7. Gardener's a 5. This is obnoxious. Oh my god. So we Maestro's Charm the Adjudicators here, and then Skycryer's still a 4/4 Vigilance lifelink, so Infiltrator just doesn't block well. Go chump their lackeys, even they're literally all citizens. Unless we trump everything, Obnixless dies here anyway. So I think we probably just let Obnixless die rather than losing our whole board. Because we would have to use our Maestro's Charm and lose everything on board. That feels so bad. See if I can draw Make Disappear, I guess. No. Absolutely not. If they attack me with everything, I just take it, because Obnixless just gains life. Okay, Adjudicator's is coming to me. But everything else is going to Ob? I guess because I think I don't want to chump block with Infiltrator to save Ob. Okay, never mind. Everything's going to Ob. That makes more sense. Oh my god, and Civic Gardener shuts off Sleep with the Fishes? I didn't even notice that. Wow, this matchup is horrible, I guess. The Civic Gardener just shuts off probably our best removal spell. Yeah, I mean, Ob is very dead. We can kill Skycrier and block everything else, but then we're losing our board except for Glamorous Outlaw, which really does not feel worth it. Could kill Skycrier right now so they don't get any life gain. I'm actually kind of interested in that. I get a free kill there.
My revenge will be cruel and painful.
Speakeasy server, opponent's gonna gain 3 life. And pass. Well, I can't attack in anymore. I'm trading my potentially 5/5 flyer for a 3/3 flyer. And here's where Echo Inspector shows off its mastery of the battlefield. Just how important a 3/4 stat line is. Stupid Newsy could activate Infiltrator. It does indeed. Unfortunately, looks like we're holding off on blocks here. I hit for 5 in the sky, they crack back for 6 in the sky. Run out of town. Infiltrator goes to the top of our library. They get 1 attack in. Spec. Citizen's Crowbar. They probably just suit up the fish and keep getting in. They're gonna blow up Sleep with the Fishes? And I guess the only way they get to keep untapping Duelist is if a Civic Gardener can keep getting in, but it's not like they were attacking with it anyway. Rooftop Nuisance. Kill the fish by sacking our Devil. Tap down both their flyers and get some attacks in here. That's actually a very good draw. Drawn to Strangle. Strangle can kill their 3/3 flyer. Don't need to do it right now. Broker's Charm. Adjudicators is going to fight our flyer. Very good top deck. That will shut off our whole board state pretty much. Now opponent is firmly in the lead. I can't even get lifelink because of Disciplined Duelist shield counter. This card is an obnoxious uncommon. Brokers have multiple uncommons that are rare power level like Disciplined Duelist. Oh, another Infiltrator. Kind of what we're looking for. Opponent's gonna get the fish, start trying to kill us with that. Jewel Thief. This is a very good card. Dusk Mangler. Sack our Expendable Lackey, get our own fish here. Can't really attack with our flyer because we're gonna be at 6 life. So they lose 4 life, sack their citizen here. Obscure Storefront is the draw. They gain life, they're up to 9. Corpse Appraiser's a beautiful draw. Get our best card out of our top 3 here. Rooftop Nuisance it is. That is actually very good here. Tap down the flyer, hit for 6, kill them next turn. Don't think we want to sack anybody because we want to have all of our blockers up. That is lethal on board for next turn. Jewel Thief is not going to do it. That is not a flying blocker here. Finish it off. Infiltrator in the sky for the kill. Very close game there. Very long fought one. Corpse Appraiser coming in with the Rooftop Nuisance for victory. Another mono blue hand here. Another mulligan it is. Blue-black this time. Oh, we do have the red source as well. This is perfect. Get rid of one of these islands. Probably going to start every game with the mold 6. Rather turn 2 Expendable Lackey than... I'm sorry, turn 2 Snooping Newsy than turn 1 Expendable Lackey. Halo Scarab from our opponent. Ooh, a little chat is going to be a great way to use our lackey. Get all our colors out. Oh, what am I... Expendable Lackey it is. Strangle at the ready if we need it. Don't think we do. Ooh, a 7 and a 4. Those are great mills from Snooping Newsy. 7, a 4, a 1, a 2, and a 3. We can very quickly get to our 5 mana values in grave. Point where maybe I want to strangle the Scarab. I feel like I don't. I mean, it's so inconsequential. But there's a possibility. Spars Adjudicators from opponents, so another Brokers matchup here. Celebrity Fencer's the play. I'll strangle that. Not particularly scary, but definitely scarier than Halo Scarab, and Spars Adjudicators is going to be too big. So we strangle here. Do a little chat, we get a 2-drop in our grave as well, which is not enough to trigger Snooping Newsy. We already have a 1, so sacking an Expendable Lackey to it is not going to change it either. So no attacks again. Oop. Lagrella the Magpie. Annoying. Exiles the Lackey. Does they plan to kill the Newsy then? Well, I guess I'll casualty it to a little chat here. Sleep with the Fishes and Girder Goons. Both are great. I'm gonna go with Sleep with the Fishes though. Go for the more defensive play. And Rooftop Nuisance or Syndicate Infiltrator. This time, since I already have a Nuisance, I'll take an Infiltrator. Get our way to try to close this game out. Just play a couple Infiltrators. That'll be 5/5 soon enough. We don't have a 3 in our grave yet, do we? No, so as soon as we cast Rooftop Nuisance, we trigger all of our mana value 5 stuff. I feel like I play Infiltrator here, and then I Nuisance next turn. Because then if I draw land, I can double Nuisance if I make the fish from Lackey and then play the Nuisance. And if I don't draw land, I can also Undercover Operative to have a second Syndicate Infiltrator with a shield counter on it. Which seems nuts, because they're going to turn into 5/5 soon enough. Mage's Attendant from our opponent. Well, that shuts off the double Nuisance plan. Because they can sack a 1/1 to counter one of our Nuisances. But I guess using a Nuisance to kill a 1/1 is not a bad deal. So I think I'm still actually going to do that. I could also just cast a Newsy and cast a single Nuisance here. Yeah, cast a single Nuisance, then play a Newsy. Seems fine. There's no reason to Nuisance here. outside of triggering the mana value 5 matters cards, which is a moderately big reason. It does feel bad that I'm not like tapping down something that needs to be tapped down. Yeah, I mean, I have to just do it. I guess I'll tap the 3/2. Doesn't really matter. Ooh, Obnixilis, good god. And then we, yeah, we're active on mana value 5, and I can cast a Newsy here as well. Multiple lifelinkers on board. 5/5 flyer out here. Obnixilis in hand. Looks like a pretty good board state. Operative as another infiltrator seems fun as well. They're just going to save a ton of mana up here, be as suspicious as possible. Kill shot to kill infiltrator? Make disappear as a counterspell? All kinds of stuff like that. I don't know, let's find out here. I'm going to go for an undercover operative. Probably going to get make disappeared. They only have 2 cards in hand, so unless the cards are literally make disappear kill shot, I think it might be okay. Go ahead and gain a life with this overlook here. And grab another swamp. And let's see that kill shot. Endless Detour. Alright, so we just put it on top, and then we'll still have a 5/5 next turn. Alright. That went better than I expected. Alright, they're over it. They do not want to play against multiple 5/5 flyers, one of which has a shield counter, so that will be a round 2 victory, just plowing through the Brokers decks. Not really. They've been very real games. They're certainly putting up a fight. Round 3 now. This is a weird hand. Strangle double rooftop nuisance. We're not really doing anything of our own volition, but we have all of our colors, and we can definitely interact with whatever our opponent's playing. I'm just going to keep it. I mean, we're on the draw here. We can draw into something to do, I guess. Cross our fingers a little bit here. Don't have to cross that hard, though, because we do have those early game defenses, and Corrupt Court Official is, like, exactly what we want. I'm gonna go for the swamp first in case we draw a turn 2 snooping Newsy. I'll play my mana a lot better than I did last game this time. Turn 2 mountain with snooping Newsy in hand. The genius play. Alright, I'd love to strangle a 2 mana 3/2. Looks like another Broker's deck here. Round 3. Yep, blue, white, and green card discarded. Yep, I'm strangling that informant. That's going to put another creature in grave, so there's definitely one for Corpse Appraiser next turn as well. Broker's Hideout is the play. Leaving 2 mana up. I'm going to play our own tapped land here, actually. Go for Corrupt Court Official over Corpse Appraiser to play around to make disappear from our opponent, and force a discard here. And then we can thin a land out of our deck. We can wait on Corpse Appraiser a little bit. So got something in hand there. They were waiting at our end step, thinking a little bit. 5 cards in hand and 3 mana on board. We did make them discard a land with Corrupt Court Official, so it's possible they got stuck off of their 4th land drop from that. Lagrella the Magpie. They're going to exile Court Official, just play a 3 mana 2/3. 3 mana 2/3 Lagrella the Magpie. You'll love to see it. And now here comes Corpse Appraiser. Exile their 6/6 from grave. Draw us a card. Girder Goons Make Disappear. Don't have the mana to hold up Make Disappear immediately here, but it will be solid. Much as I would love a Girder Goons, I feel like Make Disappear kind of better when your opponent's stuck on 3 mana. They're probably holding on to some scary cards in there. We'd be living the dream if we could draw that Make Disappear and have a blue and white source up, but only turn 4 there, we don't get our 5th land. Uh-oh, 4th mana from our opponent. Whatever they're casting this turn, the shields are down, no Make Disappear. We do have double Rooftop Nuisance, if it's just going to be a creature on board here. It is not. We've got an Out of the Way. I'd like to play an untapped land here so I can hold up both of our blue instants. Because our opponent is a green deck, we could cast this for only 2 mana, in which case we'll have the mana to cast both Out of the Way and Make Disappear. So I'm going to play the blue source first, and then I'm going to attack with Corpse Appraiser. This way we have both of our instants up if they try to do crazy things during combat, which is a possibility seeing as they have 4 mana up here. Revelation of Power is the play. So we cannot Make Disappear that, but we can bounce Lagrella to their hand for only 2 mana. Then they get to recast Lagrella though and exile Corpse Appraiser, but then we can counter Lagrella. But then we don't have our counterspell for other creatures of theirs later. Don't love any of those options that much. We could bounce our own Corpse Appraiser, which might actually be the most valuable way to play this, because then we get to recast our Corpse Appraiser and draw another card off of it later. No, why does this only bounce cards in opponent controls? That's rough. Yeah, I mean, I think we bounce it. That's sad. I wish this could bounce our own cards, because I think that is what I would do, is I would just bounce our own Corpse Appraiser. But yeah, now we're just going to have to counter a Lagrella instead of whatever we wanted to counter, whatever other scary card they have here. Rafine's Informants. Top tier common strikes again. Corrupt Court Official looks measly in comparison, and Corrupt Court Official is a great card. So 2 mana 3/2, draw, discard Ceremonial Groundbreaker. You don't know who really looks measly in comparison to Rafine's Informant? Crooked Custodian. Crooked Custodian is just crying. Ooh, Obnixilis, hello. We've got the mana to play Obnixilis and hold up a Make Disappear. It's kind of cool. It's kind of cool. Is that worth it? Can't really make a copy of Obnixilis here is the problem. I mean, I could, but then I'm only holding up a 3/3 against their 3/2. I guess I'm holding up a 3/3 against their 3/2, and I'm holding up a Make Disappear. Yeah, I can hold up a Devil Token as well. This has got to be worth it. Devil Token, like, single-handedly trades for Informant. Maybe because the devil token would trade for the informant, maybe it would have been better to actually sacrifice a praiser and just have a 1/1 corrupt court official and 2 1/1 devils on board. Actually not sure. Omnixless just always opens you up to so many options. It's crazy. You heard it here first, folks. Omnixless is a crazy card. Who would have thought? Bouncers beat down. Deals damage to a creature planeswalker equal to the power of a thing. Lagrella just exiles a creature. Yeah, I'll make disappear that. Because Lagrella's not going to deal with an Obnix.
Oh, I have a job for you. Defy me, and you'll lose everything.
The bouncer's trying to beat up Obnixless. Do you know who he is? The adversary. He's carrying, who is that? Lord Xander. Lord Xander's corpse around with him. The sick pinstripe suit on as well. Do they have another Revelation of Power in hand to give +2/+2 in flying, or do they have a Majestic Metamorphosis to give flying? Majestic Metamorphosis it is. 1 Obnixless down. 1 to go.
Next time, I'll
Strangle is a great draw. We're probably holding on to that to deal with Lagrella here, I would imagine.
by coin or carnage. Tribute is owed.
Can't hold up any instants here because they don't have any instants, so it's probably best to drop a 5/5 Syndicate Infiltrator. If they're going to use 2 removal spells to kill Obnixless, that's fine. I will attack with Corpse Appraiser here. They need 2 removal spells to get to Obnix. One of them is going to be Lagrella. They need another one in addition. So they have to expend a bunch of resources towards Obnixless here, even if Obnixless leaves the board. And then we should just have the better board position, because we get to kill Lagrella and have our 5/5 flyer and all that stuff. Celestial Regulator, that's very annoying. But since they did not draw another land, that will not be enough to break through to Obnixless, because they didn't get to cast that alongside Lagrella. We're still holding out for Lagrella here with this Strangle. So we'll cast a Glamorous Outlaw here.
Is my entertainment.
No. I think we have to Rooftop Nuisance the Regulator at minimum, so it can't hit Obnix. Alright, now Obnixless could die to a Blitz card, but that's about the only thing we're worried about now. If they have a green Blitz creature, like the 4-mana 2/3 that comes with some counters. Alright, there's Lagrella, exiling Syndicate Infiltrator, I would assume. They could exile their Regulator as well, to try to play around me having removal. That would be annoying, because then I would just probably not kill Lagrella. But looks like they do just exile my card, so I am going to kill Lagrella here. Get my card back. Two, four, five, 6. I'm going to plus Obnixless again, rather than getting Devils here.
Pleasure doing business with you.
Just keep Obnixless pretty easily out of range of just getting hit. Hope no Make Disappear. Alright, no Make Disappear. Again, I think that card, more than anything else in the set, is the card that I play around way more often than my opponent actually has it. Because I think a lot of players are like me, where they just don't like playing with counterspells. They just don't know the right times to do them. So it is a pretty underplayed card, because it plays really well. It has a pretty high win rate and everything, but you don't see it. Don't see it as often as you would think with how good the card is. Bunch of flyers from our opponent, so they don't just die to Infiltrator, but I can Rooftop Nuisance. Actually, they do just die, because I can make a Devil, sack it to the Rooftop Nuisance, have the Devil kill the Inspiring Overseer, and the Rooftop Nuisance tap the Skycrier, and their whole board is just tapped or dead. And then, yeah, send it all in. There's the concession from our opponent. That is 3-0 against brokers every round. Alright, we're going to be on the play here. This time I'm going to make sure if I draw a mountain, I'm not going to play it turn 2. I'm going to play the island for the Snooping Newsy. But this is definitely a keep mana-wise. Opponent has the Obnixless Avatar, so maybe we'll be against a Maestro's deck this time, no brokers. Expendable Lackey is a promising sign to break the chain of just a ton of brokers decks here. Unfortunately, we milled the land off of Snooping Newsy. That's never what you want to see when you've got an Overlook in hand. Uh-oh. Alright, another blue-white deck here. Another brokers deck it is. Maybe just blue-white here, because you can definitely do powerful 2-color decks in this format. Guess we'll find out soon enough. We can tap down Informant to slow them down. Also gets a 3-mana card in our grave and draws us a card. I'm not opposed to that. Go for a little attack here. So we have a 6, a 3, a 1. Make Disappear is a 2, Deal Gone Bad is a 4. So once we cast these two, we've got 5 in grave. Maybe even if we just cast Deal Gone Bad, since we get to mill ourselves 3. So another game we're definitely going to be popping off with some big Syndicate Infiltrators late game. If they resolve, if they stick around. So the blue-white decks in this format, if they are primarily focused on just blue-white, are very evasive. They have a lot of fish tokens that are completely unblockable and a ton of flyers in the sky. So a very threatening deck. Again, the 3 best decks in the format are blue-white evasion, green-white citizens, and just blue-white green brokers. It's just the three versions of brokers decks, really. So I am pretty scared of this matchup. So probably go for our Infiltrator here, rather than holding up our mana for a bunch of nonsense. Not going to trade off the Newsy for the Informant if they attack with it next turn, because I am a little confident that we can eventually get that Newsy some lifelink, so we can just make up for the life lost by not trading it off. And I'm definitely not trading off my flyer for the Informant. Looks like removal for Infiltrator here. Oh, it's Rooftop Nuisance, very bad for us. Lock down our board, they draw 2 cards. Get a taste of our own medicine there. The powerful tempo plays like Rooftop Nuisance are definitely annoying to run up against, but fun to use yourself. Play this island here so I can hold up any of my instants, any combination of them. So if they go for a removal spell, I can cast a little chat and sack whatever they're going to kill. Or if it's expensive enough, I can counter it with Make Disappear. And if they don't go for anything, we can just Deal Gone Bad their Informant in their end step, I guess. But we're probably waiting until their end step so that we still have access to our counter spell. Because we don't want to end up using a removal spell on Informant and then having them play a 5-mana 4/4 like Spar's Adjudicators afterward. Rigo Streetwise Mentor. That's a scary card. We're probably going to Deal Gone Bad on that, That allows them to draw an extra card every time they attack with a 1 power or less creature. So they don't draw a card with Rafine's Informant, but they'll draw a card off all their fish tokens. So now that they're tapped out, yeah, we will kill that. Make sure they're not drawing off their fish. Now we have a 5/5 flyer and a 3/3 lifelinker. Snooping Newsy looking incredible here. Probably attacking both and gaining a life off Riveteer's Overlook. And then here I'm okay with just holding up one or the other of our blue instants. Because we get a fish out here. And now, if we need to counter something, we make disappear. If we don't need to counter something, we cast a little chat and draw some cards here. So opponent's at 8, we're at 14. Opponent does play a forest, so Broker's deck number 4. One of the big reasons I'm not enjoying this format a lot. I really like formats where the color balance is as close as possible, so that there's as wide a variety of decks and matchups as possible. In this format, there's a lot of Brokers. If I go for a little chat here, I'm not holding up my counter spell. I'm giving them an opportunity to cast instant speed removal. I don't think it's worth the risk because of how low my opponent is on life here. If I just counter whatever they're trying to do, like we just hit them for 5. Hit them for 6 even. Get them really close to dead. And if they're not going for any instant speed removal of any kind, then we just cast Duskmangler and they're dead. Like if they just don't have spells to cast. They definitely are though, because they didn't play a fish. Do I attack with Newsy here? I don't think I do. I don't think I trade Newsy into the Infiltrator. Or the Informant. Quick Draw Dagger is their plan. Okay, they don't have any flying. They're going to play Quick Draw Dagger and then Metamorphosis, and then we counter Metamorphosis. Broker's Charm is the plan. Okay, well, that works too. We'll counter that. Hit for 6. Alright, if we had the mana to cast Duskmangler after this, then we would win on the spot, but we don't, so we'll just go for our little draw spell here and try to win next turn. Duskmangler is going to be huge here, giving us a way to make our opponent lose 4 life, even if they wrath the board, even if they get rid of all of our threats right now. And that's just the concession from our opponent. Maestro's in the lead, takes down Brokers for the 4th time, and we rank up into Mythic in this draft. Mythic number 502. That's pretty cool. Don't really care about being top 200 Mythic or whatever it is now. They used to have it so top 1200 Mythic would get into the qualifier weekend events, which is why I am qualified for the May 28th event. But now it's only like the top number 200. And next month's qualifier tournament, I always look up and see when the limited qualifier tournaments are. Whenever the limited qualifier tournaments are, I try to do those. But this month's limited. Next month, the one that I would qualify for if I'm top 200 Mythic is like standard or something, so I don't care. So I'm not going to try to be number 200 Mythic or anything, but it is still very cool to hit Mythic again this season. That's pretty nice. So we are 4-0 with Mob Nixless. No matter what happens, we're breaking even. We're getting 1,400 gems and 3 packs out of this draft that I spent 1,500 gems on. So we're down 100 gems, but we get to keep everything we drafted and get 3 more packs, so that is more than worth it. So very happy with how this Premier Draft has gone, no matter what happens from this point on. We also broke into Mythic, even if I drop out of the numbers and into the percentiles, losing my next 3 rounds or anything like that. So either way, 4-0 start to this draft, taking out the Brokers decks. We'll see how it proceeds from here, but super happy with how it's gone so far. Round 5 now, we're on the play. Another hand with no plays of our own. Just a bunch of interaction against our opponent's plays, but we got a little chat on turn 2. Try to draw us into something. And this is really what our deck does. It's just a pile of interaction, really. So we'll keep it. Opponent starts with Rafine's Tower. White, blue, and black. So potential Obscura deck from our opponent. Well, a little awkward to draw the Expendable Lackey turn 2, but still happy to draw it, get some kind of creature on the board for our casualty spells, as well as for potentially hitting our opponent if they can't get a 2-mana creature down. Alright, black source from our opponents. It looks like they are actually white, blue, black, not just using the Raffine's Tower as a white, blue fixer. So that's pretty cool. Lackey versus Lackey. The fight of the century. Probably just pop my Lackey to a little chat, but I guess I can do that if they attack me with their Lackey, so I stop the damage and draw the cards here. Just play land for turn. Sure. Pass turn here. Hold up a Lackey for blocks. Raffine's Guidance on the Expendable Lackey, going to turn it into a 2/2 on the board, so it can attack in here freely. So I'm going to go for our chump block here, since I do get to casualty. And get value out of the Lackey while stopping the damage. So let's draw Syndicate Infiltrator or Maestro's Charm. A lot of interaction in hand. We'll draw the Infiltrator to get another threat. And then we'll draw Rooftop Nuisance or Island. We do need another blue source for Sleep with the Fishes, and we already have one Nuisance. We'll grab the second blue source. Unfortunately. Cutthroat Contender from our opponent, so a very aggressive deck from them if they're playing cards like Cutthroat Contender. Luckily for us, though, we can get little fish tokens and stuff from Expendable Lackeys to trade into that. Or Sleep with the Fishes even later. But for now, Syndicate Infiltrator put a 3/3 onto the board against their 2/2 and 2/1, and that potentially stops their attacks if they don't have removal or Rooftop Nuisance here. Alright, opponent skips right through the combat, passes turn here. Could be holding up counter spells. I probably want to go for my second Infiltrator just in my main phase to see if they counter it. If they don't counter it, we'll attack with this Infiltrator, but if they do counter it, then I'm going to hold on to this to block. And Obscura Interceptor it is, that just puts it back in our hand, so not the biggest deal ever. We'll definitely probably slap a Sleep with the Fishes onto that later. But that is going to be a big life gain swing for our opponent here. Because that is a 4/2 lifelink. That is going to trade into Infiltrator if we block. 5th mana from our opponent, Psychic Pickpocket. Ooh, this is unfortunate. These are some powerful tempo plays from our opponent. Essentially making us skip 2 turns here. They've completely nullified our turn 4 and turn 5 plays. Get in with everybody, gain a ton of life. That might be too much. That might be it here. Don't have the mana to cast more than one thing here. I guess we can play Sleep with the Fishes and get a fish, or we can play an Infiltrator and get a fish. I think I'm on Sleep with the Fishes and get a fish because that'll leave us with 2 blockers on the board. So lock down the Interceptor. And a 1/1 fish is very good on this board state again because it can single-handedly trade into the Cutthroat Contender, which is a 2/1. Get another fish out of our Expendable Lackey. Now we have 2 blockers out, so if they choose not to attack with Cutthroat Contender, we can now double block the Psychic Pickpocket to kill the 3/2 instead. Night Clubber, though, is the exact card that you want there. Going to kill all of our 1 toughness creatures, let them hit in for 7, and feel like there's very little our deck can do against this. If we were luckier in our draft pod and there was a Hostile Takeover in one of those packs, Hostile Takeover would be phenomenal here, just blow up the board state, pretty much win from there, but didn't manage to get any big bombs like Hostile Takeover or Corpse Takedown, or any big Wraths. We do have an Obnix list. But yeah, without a big Wrath effect, this game is pretty much over, I think. We can get 1 blocker and shut down 1 attacker. So we can block that and shut down that as an attacker and just take 4. If our opponent has nothing in hand, we're not quite dead here then. I guess I'll play Rooftop Nuisance first to see if we draw something better than Syndicate Infiltrator to cast here, but I don't think there is anything. And unfortunately, our opponent is holding for something, so they have some kind of instant here that probably ruins our plans and finds lethal. Murder. Murder it is. Phenomenal deck from our opponent with a great curve out with those tempo plays turn 4 and onwards. That's going to be game 4 and 1. Our first loss to the first non-brokers deck. I'll take it. Round 6 here, we have a turn 2 Snooping Newsy. We really need to hit a red source, but if we do, we get Obnixless down. Bit of a risky keep, but we are on the draw here at least, so I'm going to go for it. Another Syndicate Infiltrator. Yeah, if we hit any lands towards these Syndicate Infiltrators, that's going to be great. Corrupt Court Official from our opponent. Probably drop Maestro's Charm, because we need a red source for it. Maybe Out of the Way. I guess Out of the Way. It's more expensive. We do hit a blue source here. Not exactly what we're looking for, but still a land. Mill 2 non-land cards, so great hits from Snooping Newsy. We've got a 1, a 2, and a 4 in grave. Excellent start for the Snooping Newsy. But we have drawn a 3rd red card here, so we are really looking for that red source. Girder Goons from opponents, going to be a huge play. Hit us for 4, draw a card, and make a 2/2. Girder Goons of our own. Unfortunately, not a 4th land or a red source here. May have to consider chumping. Just taking 3 here. I guess they blitz another Girder Goons, and this game's pretty much over. But it would be even if we chumped with a Newsy against the Girder Goons. So just a blue-black deck from our opponent here. Kind of the mirror match. Psychic Pickpocket. Again, we saw that last round. Card is a phenomenal tempo card. Actually kind of okay with them bouncing Newsy, because if I don't draw a red source or a 4th mana, I won't have a play next turn anyway. So this way, at least I get to recast Newsy to try to mill myself into the cards I need to get lifelink, but we did hit the 4th mana, which means we just get to cast Syndicate Infiltrator instead, which is going to be the play because that's a guaranteed 3/3. Double Psychic Pickpocket. Wow, we are just getting tempoed out these last 2 rounds. Psychic Pickpocket, just a phenomenal card. Puts a big threat on the board and bounces an opposing creature. So we have to go for Snooping Newsy, Corrupt Court Official here, because our biggest chance at surviving this game is to have Newsy potentially be a lifelinker and be able to block 2 creatures. If we just spit 1 creature out, it's definitely going to get killed and we're going to die. But unfortunately with Rooftop Nuisance, both are going to get killed and we are going to die. So this again is where the format can be very quick and very aggressive if you are one of the 2-color strategies. Huge tempo plays like Psychic Pickpocket and Rooftop Nuisance. If we hit perfect mana there, I think we did have a solid chance there. If we had like a red source turn 3, the hand's pretty scary with Strangle and Maestro's Charm to deal with their threats. Obnixless putting a lot of pressure on our opponent. But if we stumble at all in that match against those huge tempo plays, that is definitely going to be a loss. Great deck from our opponent. 4-2 it is as we head into round 7. Alright, opponents on the play here. Another mono blue hand. Biggest flaw to our deck is the mana base. I probably should have taken more non-basics more highly, but we've had a lot of hands like this that just had to be mulligans. A lot of games starting with a 6-card hand. And of course, last round, not hitting the red source was pretty bad. I think we do take the mulligan here. This mana is much more reasonable. No plays of our own till turn 4, but great interaction. I'll keep it. I'm going to get rid of Out of the Way. We're definitely trying to get to that 4th land here. Could potentially ditch the Swamp because we still have great mana without it. But I don't want to take that risk on not hitting another land for those Girder Goons. Black-red is the matchup? Oh no. Oh no. Tenacious Underdog is very, very bad for us. even if we strangle that, that can keep getting blitzed back later in the game for the 4 mana. They pay 2 life to hit us for 3 and draw a card, basically. I can't sit here taking 3 right now, though. I have to strangle that and just deal with it later. They start bringing it back. Sleep with the Fishes would be the best way to get rid of that, because that would stop them from blitzing it. But our opponents on black-red here, they're going to have plenty ways to sacrifice it, even if we sleep it with the Fishes. So pretty much no matter what we do, we're going to have to deal with that being able to be blitzed back later. Nightclubber is the play here. Happy to see that get played on an empty board. Four mana from our opponent, just going to blitz the underdog here. I'll go ahead and just counter that here, because I'm not going to have the mana next turn to hold it up to counter then. So basically we discard our Make Disappear to make them not draw a card. So we countered a spell that was like deal 3 to us plus draw a card. Which isn't the greatest spell ever, but it feels like a fine card to counter there. I'm pretty tempted to hold off on this Girder Goons here and try to just hard cast it as a 5 mana 4/4. Because if we get a 4/4 on our board, we can block their 3/2 all day long. They'd still draw cards off of it, but yeah, that feels good. And even Undercover Operative I'd like to hold on to. That way we could have a 4/4 and a 4/4 with a shield counter. We're going to go for a little chat here, attempting to hit a untapped land. Probably our best plan. After using that Strangle to slow them down here, just try to take the time that we have to now set up some 4/4s. But again, with that Tenacious Underdog Blitz, they're still going to go quite fast here, attacking us for 5 this turn. I guess I can do a little chat right now, just in case I have some kind of wild instant I forgot about. I do have Maestro's Charm, but I don't have the mana for it here. Get that 5th mana for Girder Goons. Alright, another Strangle is the draw. Not a bad draw at all. We're going to hard cast a Girder Goons to have a blocker out for our opponent's stuff. But the red-black decks in this format are very scary. Bunch of casualty and blitz ways to sacrifice cards. Body droppers can get bigger while they're sacrificing stuff, but one of the huge things that we're really worried about is there is one uncommon active treason effect in the format that can steal one of our cards, so they could steal our Girder Goons, sack it while it's on their board, get a 2/2 from it, and get whatever casualty benefit they get from sacrificing a creature there. Okay, so opponent is going to trade a Strangle and their 2/2 up into our Girder Goons, so our Undercover Operative is not active anymore. It can't be a 4/4 here, which is actually a pretty bad time for us. Yeah, this is really bad. We can make an Undercover Operative as a 2/2 with a shield counter. We can Strangle their 2/2. We just really don't have any great plays here. And this Tenacious Underdog is just going to be shredding us to pieces. Really needed to draw into a Corpse Appraiser for this matchup to exile this Underdog. Without it, I think this Underdog takes it. We're in such a rough spot here at 9 life. I think we have to just shoot that Underdog and hold our 2/2 back in case they blitz in a very scary card other than Underdog. If they just blitz in Underdog, I think we take that damage. Blitz in a Nightclubber here so that we don't have a good block and they draw a card. I'm actually like really okay with this. This is just like less damage than blitzing in the Underdog, but I see why they did it. Body Dropper in hand, they'd have enough mana to play the Body Dropper and blitz the thing, and we'll sleep that with the Fishes. They can still casualty it to good effect, but at least it won't be hitting us. And we'll gain a life from our Riveteer's Overlook. Grab a Mountain so that we have the mana needed to sacrifice this Tramway Station to draw a card. Should probably have actually hit for 2 there, now that we have a fish token. To chump block if necessary. And that could actually really cost us here, because it does cost them life to blitz in this underdog every time. So had we hit them for 2 here, we are putting them some pressure on them. We're putting them down to 12. If we get decent enough attacks back at them, that's probably our best bet to win this game. So it was a really bad missing that attack with the 2-2 actually here. Yeah, because now we draw into Glamorous Outlaw even. I really should have hit for the 2. See if that costs us the game here, or if we just don't get close. If we get close, though, if we get close without beating them, attacking with that 2-2 could have got us there. I am scared enough of dying to removal here that I'm not going to attack with the fish as well, but I think I should have definitely attacked with the 2-2 last turn. So down to 10, down to 7 if they blitz. Oh no. Alright. We were probably just dead no matter what if they do have the active treason effect, the involuntary employment. If I don't block here, I'm dead to a million different spells, so we have to go for the chump. They are definitely going to casualty our Glamorous Outlaw to kill it. Dig up the body. Oh dear. 2 creatures from grave to their hand. Girder Goons to hand that can get blitzed out, draw them a card, and get a 2-2. And another Girder Goons. Yeah, Girder Goons to just keep piling that pressure onto me here. They've got enough mana to blitz 2 Girder Goons out as well, but if they blitz 2 Girder Goons out, then I think I want a shield counter here. If they blitz 2 Girder Goons out, they can't play any removal. So I think we just hold 2 blockers up. So we can go block both Girder Goons. It would be very sad if this game ends with my opponent at 2 life. Again, going for that double block because there's a lot of ways to just do 1 final point of damage, like Witty Roastmaster and stuff. Gotta play it safe against that kind of stuff. Opponent goes down to 8, which we can put them down to 4. If we draw into our 7 mana card, we actually win here. Our 7 mana card that makes our opponent lose 4 life. Don't draw into that, but we still have 2 blockers thanks to Expendable Lackey here. Do we have another 1-drop engrave? Yes, so even exiling Lackey, Infiltrator will be a 5/5 blocker. Do we attack both? Do we attack with 1, or do we attack with neither? I think we kind of have to attack both here and just hope for no more involuntary employments. If they have involuntary employment, we're dead no matter what. They just take our flyer and kill us with it. Because their graveyard is so full that they definitely have 5 card types. They've got 11 cards in grave. Or 5 mana values. So opponent would be at 2 life here, had we attacked with that rogue way earlier when I should have. Rob the Archives is to play double Plasma Jockey, blitz in 2 Plasma Jockeys, and that is game. What a hit off of Rob the Archives. So it looks like we would not have got there even with the earlier attack with the Rogue, but we've gotten really close. Double Plasma Jockey off Rob the Archives is phenomenal hits for our opponent. We'd be dead even if we held up 1 blocker here. We would have had to hold the entire board up to block with, and then traded them into the blitzed cards, which lets our opponent just draw 2. They'd still have the 2/2s out, and we'd go to 1. Horrible position there, even if we hold the rogues back. Very powerful Rakdos blitz deck from our opponent, with a blue splash for something we didn't get to see what their blue bomb was there, but basically your classic Rakdos Sacrifice, Rakdos blitz deck in the format. Very nice stuff from our opponent. That is going to be 4 and 3, and that will unfortunately end today's draft. Still, as I said before, Very happy with this draft overall. 1,400 gems and 3 packs. I'll absolutely take it. We got some sick cards for our collection in the draft as well, like the Obnixless itself. Biggest issues with this deck were the mana base, since we were pretty heavy into basically every color that we had, even our red splash. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 red cards. So our mana base was pretty awkward, would have liked more non-basics and stuff. Probably the biggest flaw to the deck was that, a lot of stumbling on mana there. But we were also just like, I think one big Wrath effect away, or several just slightly better removal spells away from being the ideal Maestro's kind of control deck. If we had the same deck, but we had 1 copy of Corpse Explosion or 1 copy of Hostile Takeover, or Hostile Takedown, I would be like, yeah, this is like the cream of the crop Maestro's deck you're looking for. But without those, deck's pretty awkward. We are running some medium, more mediocre removal like Deal Gone Bad. We would prefer that to be a murder, even with the infiltrators in the deck. Any other flaws to the deck? Not particularly. I think this is a pretty nice Maestro's blue-black as the focus, the blue-black self-mill theme, controlling strategy. Pretty nice deck. Had a good time with it. Nice to at least beat every single Broker's deck we played against. That feels good. I love beating the the primary deck of the format, the deck to beat the overdrafted strategy. Feels good. So we'll claim that prize. 1,400 gems and 3 packs is our reward. I guess it's kind of weird that I don't love that there's so many Broker's decks in this format, but I'm so okay with there being so many Snow decks in Call Time. I don't know, I just think the Snow decks in Call Time are a lot cooler, and I don't know, there's always like solid variety in them because they're always splashing in different stuff because they're all like 4 or 5 colors. I don't know, it feels a little hypocritical because I love Call Time so much, and that is a format heavily driven by a ton of green-based Snow decks. But then I don't like all the Broker's decks here. I don't know, the Broker's decks, I guess it's because the green Snow decks in Call Time feel like they're doing something really unique that not a lot of formats can do, where you're caring about drafting specific lands throughout the draft, even specific basic lands. Like they're really fun to draft, and then in the gameplay they're doing something a lot of decks don't do often in draft, which is be this 5-color splashy pile. A lot of like value plays and mana fixing plays throughout the game, whereas Broker's decks in this format, like they're bread and butter limited decks. Everything in this format is a bread and butter limited deck. Broker's decks in this format just feel like your traditional guild deck. Like green white just feels like you're playing a Selesnya deck in a Ravnica format, or white blue, you're just playing blue white flyers in any format. And then Broker's deck, it's like, yeah, you're green white and blue, but still some very basic bread and butter limited Magic. I guess that's what it is. At least, even though Call Time is so driven by the Snow, it's something unique to that format, even if it is maybe too big a part of that format. Either way, I'm going to stop rambling here and let you all get on with your days. I hope you all enjoyed this video as much as I enjoyed drafting it. If you'd like to see more videos like this, you can like, comment, and subscribe to let the YouTube algorithm know to send you more of these videos in your recommended feeds. And as always, thank you again for watching, and I'll see you soon for some more Magic Arena.